up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be doing the match preview for Barcelona versus Valencia in La Liga. We're now back in league campaign where Barcelona are in a very delicate situation, at a point now where they drop more points and they're out of the title race in January yet again. Exact same point as last season. A win is an absolute must against one of the worst teams in the league at home as well. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below and let's try and get to 200 likes on this video. It would be very much appreciated. And also, if you are new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Kickoff time for this match will be taking place at 9 p.m. local time, so regular kickoff time in La Liga, and this match will be taking place at the Estadio Olympic Stadium in Montjuic, the temporary home, of course, of Barcelona. And if you think this game is going to be hard, it's more harder, because if you look at the referees for this game, we have the worst referee in La Liga. It is Cesar Soto Grando on the pitch and Carlos de Soto Grande on VAR. Probably the worst combination you can get, apart from Gil Mentano, who is doing Las Palmas and Osasuna. So you can't get much worse than this. You have the worst referees in the league in a very big game. Let's start off by taking a look at the league table, where Barcelona are currently sat in third place in La Liga on 39 points after playing 20 matches. We have 12 wins, 3 draws, and 5 losses. Look at our last 5 games in the league. It is absolutely disgusting. 2 losses, 2 draws, and a win. We have not won a league game now for about a month and a half. We're coming up to 2 months without winning a league game. Last league game win was December the 3rd away against Mallorca, 5-1 victory. We have not won a game in the league since losing to Leganes, Atletico, and of course drawing against Getafe, and drawing of course with Betis as well. Now Atletico Madrid are 44 points, 5 points ahead of us. They of course lost their last game surprisingly against Leganes, a very shocking result there. Then you have Real Madrid, who of course took advantage of the 2 drop points from Barcelona. Atletico Madrid dropping into first place on 46 points. So we're currently 7 points off the top. Now we're of course on match day 20 at the moment. Match day 22 is going to be the Madrid derby, Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid. And of course, at that point, someone is dropping points, one of them or both of them. It is absolutely imperative that Barcelona win their next 3 games in La Liga, because someone is dropping points and you have to capitalize on that. And maybe they might drop points along the way. Who knows? If you told me last week Leganes was going to beat Atletico Madrid, I would not have believed you. Now, if you take a look at the 2 Madrid teams who will be playing this weekend, Atletico Madrid will be hosting Villarreal. That could be a juicy game at the Metropolitano Stadium, so probably Atletico Madrid win. Then Real Madrid will be playing the worst team in La Liga, Real Valladolid, away from home though, so you never know. But again, imperative that Barcelona pick up points and don't drop any points with the Madrid derby coming up very soon. Someone is dropping points at that point, and we have to be ready to capitalize. This is Barcelona's probably last opportunity to salvage any title race in La Liga this season, and it starts with this game. Now, if you take a look at our opponents in Valencia and where they're currently standing in the league table, they're currently sat in 19th place in La Liga on 16 points after playing 20 matches. They have 3 wins, 7 draws, and 10 losses. And if you look at their last 5 games in La Liga, it is actually better than Barcelona's. 3 draws, a loss, and a win, compared to Barcelona's 2 losses, 2 draws, and a win. So one of the worst teams in the league is coming into better form in this game than Barcelona in the last 5 games. But again, Valencia, one of the worst teams in the league this season, fighting for their lives to stay in the first division. Let's now take a look at our opponents in Valencia, one of the most historic teams in the league. Actually, they've of course won multiple titles in Spain. They are of course one of the few teams to have won titles, but they've been very poor over the past few years due to poor management run by their owners. They've been fighting for relegation for the past few years, and they're now back at this point at exactly this season as well. The last time we did face them was actually the first game of the season, where we did beat them narrowly 2-1. 1 with the Lewandowski brace, of course the penalty very early on in the second half, and then that great cross in from Balde far post Lewandowski to equalize before halftime. It was the first game of the year, so maybe we'll let that slide a little bit. It was a conservative game from Barcelona. Of course, you had Casado and Bernal starting in the pivot, Pedri in the 10. It was a very, very delicate situation at that time, coming off the back, of course, of pre-season, but winning away at the Mestalla is not easy whatsoever at any point in the season. So shout out to the team there for getting the result in that game. Now we take a look at Valencia's last 5 matches in all competition. In their last match, they beat Real Sociedad 1-0. They beat Orense 2-0 in the Copa del Rey round 16. Of course, now in the quarterfinals, they drew 1-1 with Sevilla. They beat Eldense 2-0 in the round 32, and they also lost to Real Madrid 2-1 in the league. But let's take a look now at the last 3 games in all competition. Firstly is that 1-1 draw with Sevilla at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan. A very, very tight game. You could say, to be honest, in terms of club stature, it's a quite even game on paper. You expect Sevilla to be beating a team like Valencia at home, but it's a very, very tight game. Again, Valencia, the issue with them is that they're not really that poor of a side. They're of course not great, but they're not that, bad. But the issue is the management, the managers, and their players that not coming up to the task is what the main issue really is. It was a tight game. A goal coming in for Roja down the right hand side to salvage a point for Valencia. And to be honest, probably a good point for them. Next up is their 2-0 win against Orense in the Copa del Rey. Of course, in a knockout game, it's very important to see how the team shape up. They, of course, had a few rotation, not too much, because, of course, they are a weak team, so they want to, of course, go as far in the cup as possible. But again, it was overall, I wouldn't say comfortable, but the job was done as expected. Facing a third division team away from home, even the Copa del Rey, you should be walking away with the victory, and Valencia didn't embarrass himself that much. So 2-0 victory for them and a strong progression in the cup. And their last match, of course, in the league was a 1-0 win against a decent Real Sociedad team at the Mestalla. Now, of course, in a game like this, it's very, very delicate for Valencia. These are the kind of games that they get up for. Again, they always being Madrid in the beginning of the year as well, but it's a game where Valencia were just on top the majority of the game. The atmosphere is on their side. Hugo Doro getting the goal for Valencia, probably one of their star players this season. And under the new manager bounce as well, this is a huge win for them. And credit to them, it was a tight game, so they did have a few chances, but Valencia walk away with all 3 points. So overall, final thoughts on Valencia. They, of course, are a bad team, but they've been under a big resurgence under their new manager, Carlos Galberna, who, of course, was at West Bromwich Albion in the championship in England, and Valencia went out and got him, activating his release clause. Of course, sat their former manager, Ruben Baraja, who's done very well for Valencia over the course of his time, but recently he was on dire form. And since the new manager came in, of course, at the beginning of the year, January 2025, Valencia have been doing very well. So the new manager bounce is probably still in effect here, so that's something to watch out for in this game. And in terms of players to watch out for, I would say maybe Pepe Lu in the midfield, Javi Guerrero in the midfield as well. Mamardashvili really in goal, of course, fantastic goalkeeper. Jose Gaya at left back, Hugo Doro up top, of course, scored against us in the first game of the season. They have a few good, nice, needy players, but as a collective unit is where they struggle the most. This team is definitely vulnerable. This team isn't the best, but again, under this new manager bounce, decent players here and there, they can cause some serious damage. Now, the only injury update that we do have heading into this match is on the only injured player in the short term, of course, for Barcelona, and that is Dani Olmo. Now, when he initially got injured, the reports were saying that he was going to come back next week, midweek, against Atalanta on Wednesday, but his return has been postponed. Did have Miguel from AES came out saying that Dani Olmo was expected to return within 10 days, but the club will delay his comeback until the Alaves match, extending it to 2 weeks in total, so an extra 4 days. He'll be out against Valencia and Atalanta. This caution approach is due to his long-term injury history. I mean, you can't get more injury prone than this. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not too bothered. We, of course, had the players to compensate for Dani Olmo for now. No real big game in terms of big team coming up, but a lot of important games ahead. So hopefully he can just recover as quickly and as effectively as possible. Let's now get into the press conference reaction of Hansi Flick. Of course, the Mr. spoke this afternoon in Barcelona ahead of the match tomorrow. So let's get and see what he had to say in the presser. It comes out by saying, firstly, that we are well prepared against a more stable opponent in defense. It will be a tough match for us. It will not be easy. He's then asked, I think, one of the most cringiest questions by the reporter. He said to Flick, "Oh, I have a bet with my friend that Szczesny is going to start. Can you help me out and start Szczesny?" Of course, Flick's like, yeah, we'll see who starts tomorrow. He's not going to tell him the answer, but bloody hell, these Catalonia reporters are beyond cringe. He's asked on the starting 11, will there be rotation, stuff like this. Who can you tell us will start? Again, another cringy question, and the same answer was there. He said, look, I haven't decided on the lineup yet. My apologies, I will not give you any answers. He was asked on Pedri rotation, how he's feeling. Of course, look, at the moment, he's playing at 100% and very well. I already mentioned that we changed the philosophy regarding Pedri. He will continue to play because he is doing better this way. He may not be starting in the lineup, but we need the fresh legs against Valencia. We will see. There are changes planned in the team. So basically saying here that they've now decided with Pedri that he will be involved in every single game. Whether he starts or not, of course, is still the big question, and that's the best way to keep Pedri as fit and as far away from injury as possible. Bit strange, but if that's the philosophy they do have based on the test, crack on. So that doesn't mean that he will 100% start or 100% not start, but he will 100% play at some point in the game. On the league now being a priority, and that for me is very important to win every game. You have to go onto the pitch like this, like you approach the games. You have to manage the breaks, yes, but you will see. You have to win games at home, also for the fans as well. Then as on the two different Barcelonas, one in the league being crap recently, and then one in the Champions League doing very well. So look, you may think that we have problems in the league, but in the Catalan game, it was our fault. We didn't win the game. We must improve our concentration from the beginning at the end of to the end of matches, and that's what I want to see. Then as on Christensen, of course, he's not played a single second yet this season. He's been fit now for about a week or two. So look, naturally, we spoke with Andreas. He came back from a serious injury, and he's doing very well in training, although there are players ahead of him right now in the pecking order. We know his quality, and we'll see what happens. So basically, he has to keep training and knocking on the door and buying his time, pretty much. Asked pretty much the same question on Bao Victor as well. So look, you have to see where he comes from. He played for Barca B, and he did very well in preseason, but it's not easy to give minutes to each player that each player requires. There is a plan, but it cannot be stopped. He will, of course, have opportunities this season. Then as on renewals, a very good question here, saying that look, of course, the persona is you go out and buy players, of course, with the winter market open right now, but it's also important to keep your players in-house as well. And Flick said, yes, I agree, the club and Deco are working very well. They are looking for players, but it's very important to work with what we have in the squad as well. I like the way that Deco is approaching. And finally, he was asked, of course, on Araujo and his performances. He said, look, I spoke with Arnold, and it's and the important thing is that he is fit and that he is improving. I am concentrating on him. He will surely be improved. Bielsa will have a great center back under his command for the Uruguay national team and the next, international call. Look, that's about Bielsa's quotes. Bielsa, of course, praising Flick in the media about how he's handled Araujo and how much he can improve Araujo. So Flick reiterating that praise back to Bielsa. And that concluded Flick's press conference reaction ahead of the match against Valencia tomorrow. Let's now get into the lineup prediction. We're going to start with the manager, of course, Hansi Flick. I'm going to try my best to pick this lineup. I think this will be very difficult to predict. Will you go with the strong team, 1 or 2 rotation, more than 1 rotation? There's, of course, going to be changes to this lineup, but I think that Flick will go with this lineup on the screen right now. They'll go with Naki Peña in goal, a back 4 of Kounde, Araujo, Cubarsí, and Alejandro Balde. Midfield 3 of Pedri, Casado, and Fermin Lopez, and a front 3 of Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski, and Raphinha. I think he'll make 1 change. I think he'll drop, well, not really drop, but put Gavi on the bench, rest Gavi, and start Fermin Lopez. Flick's not really someone who likes to make a lot of rotation. Of course, I guess he learned from his mistake against Osasuna. I think there should be more rotation. Of course, we'll talk about that in just a few seconds. But based on Flick's philosophy, I think I expect 1 or 2 changes. I think definitely one of them will be the 10. Gavi, I don't think Gavi was poor in that game. I think he can hopefully Gavi can maybe even start in the midfield in the pivot. But I think what's a different dynamic in a game like this. I know that Fermin tends to struggle in low blocks, but he is ahead of Pablo Torre in the pecking order according to Flick's eyes. So that's why I think he'll start this game. I think everyone else, there won't be any changes against an important game, so I think he will go fairly strong with 1 or 2 rotation at the absolute most, and the one that I do think he will make is in the 10 for Gavi and coming in for Min Lopez. This is not the thing that Hansi Flick will select for this match, but of course, in the comments down below, let me know what you think Hansi Flick will go with. Now I'm going to show you guys my lineup, what I would do if I was the Barcelona coach. Of course, I have made a few changes to Flick's lineup prediction. I have gone with this lineup on the screen right now. I've gone with Naki Peña in goal, a back 4 of Hector Fort, Araujo, Eric Garcia, and Alejandro Balde, midfield 3 of Casado, De Jong, and Pablo Torre, front 3 of Lamine Yamal, Lewandowski, and Ferran Torres. At the end of the day, you have to realize that this is the second worst team in the league. I understand they have a manager bounce, and I understand they're playing well recently, but you're at home against one of the worst teams in the league. he should be able to make rotation. I think the rotation here is not even that crazy. Hector Ford for Kounde, resting him. I think Hector Ford is definitely of the level of Valencia at home. Eric Garcia has been doing very well. I think playing him at center back wouldn't be too bad. De Jong has been fantastic in recent fixtures, so resting Pedri would be nice, and seeing De Jong play in the 8 with Casado kind of covering him, giving him a bit more freedom. Gavi as well, a lot of minutes recently coming off the back of the ACL, of course. So I prefer Pablo Torre right now over Fermin Lopez. Fernando Torres has done really well off the bench, giving some little bit of love against his former team. Tends to, of course, turn it up against Valencia, so give him a start. Minimal off the right and Lewandowski up top. So what are we saying? 1, 2, 3, 4 changes in total. I think that's definitely manageable for a team of Valencia's level right now, especially playing at home as well. But this is the lineup that I would select for this match. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know if you'd rather pick my lineup or Flick's lineup. Time now for my score prediction. What do I believe the result will be in this match? I have gone with a 3-1 win here for Football Club Barcelona. It should be a win. It will be a win. You're at home against a bad team. It just really comes down to how the game will go. Will it be comfortable? Will it be tight? Will it be last second hurrah after, a terrible start to the game? I think Barcelona can be 1 or 2-0 up going to halftime, maybe get the third goal, start relaxing, and then Valencia get a consolation goal. That's kind of how I see the game going here. I think there's an absolutely 0% chance that Barcelona lose this game. I think we can definitely draw the game. I'd probably put that at like 10 to 15%. In my opinion, especially if Valencia score first, they just sit back, soak it all up. It'll be hard for us to break them down, kind of vibe. But I think that Barcelona will go out there and get the result. I think Valencia will kind of feel, we're doing so well recently. Let's actually go for it against Barcelona. That's, I think, the vibe that they're kind of giving me. So I think with that, they'll be a bit more open, and hopefully Barcelona can punish. A win is a must though, so I think Barcelona will win this game by 3-1. But of course, in the comments down below, let me know what you think the scoreline will be. So that was my match preview for Barcelona versus Valencia in La Liga. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course in the comments down below as well, let me know your thoughts on everything we did discuss. Main things, of course, being your score prediction, and secondly, on those lineups. Firstly, would you pick my lineup or Flick's lineup? What do you think Flick will go with? What would you go with if you were the manager? Leave me all your thoughts down below, and of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the live watch along. Set the reminder on the screen and come and join me, watch the game with me, fall after the match, by my match reviews. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Drop points in this game. 100% league title race is over. You cannot be going 9 games without a win, or 1 win in 10. It's just disgusting. This is, of course, must be the turning point in the league, or else we're screwed. So I'll see you guys tomorrow for that. Take care, and Forza Barca.